What's up, y'all? Oh my gosh, I have never gone live on TikTok. So, this is gonna be the first live. And what's up? Anyway, what's up, y'all? If you have not yet met me, my name is Coach Jamila. I am a manifestation and mindset coach. I help women to transform their lives by unfucking their mind. and uh, I wanted to listen, y'all. I don't know what's going on. Something just like went across my screen. Y'all, this is my first live stream. Hey, everybody. Thank y'all for joining. Listen, y'all. If I, start stumbling or looking at stuff, this is my first live stream, so I really don't know what I'm doing. We gonna figure this out. But anyway, as I was saying, my name is Coach Jamila. I am a manifestation and mindset coach. I help women specifically in business to unfuck their minds, to make more money, increase their income, increase their influence, and just increase their overall internal value as far as who they are, what they deserve, what they can have in life, okay? So if you are a woman in business, definitely follow me. Go to the top of my profile, get some resources that I might have for you, okay? And so today I wanted to do a quick introduction, and I am going to be getting on here for the next couple of weeks. And I'm going to be teaching y'all from this book, The Dynamic Laws of Prosperity. If you are not familiar with this book, it is written by a woman named Catherine Ponder. I was introduced to this book by Ian Van Zant. Okay, thank you. What's up, y'all? I'm seeing names. I'm trying to read y'all comments, y'all. When I used to go live on Instagram, that was the one thing that I was horrible at. It's like reading the comments. So y'all, this is my first live stream. If I miss your comment, I am sorry, okay? But anyway, I'm gonna be teaching y'all from this book, The Dynamic Laws of Prosperity. Catherine Ponder, she was an older woman. She was a white woman, and basically she went around the country during, I was reading the beginning of the book. It was during World War II. Let me make sure I got this right. What's up, everybody coming on? Okay, so it was during World War II. She went around the country teaching these classes, and they were called prosperity classes. And basically, she helped her students to begin to change and transform their lives, literally using the words that they speak, okay? And so that is well within what I help my clients with. I help them to basically change and transform their lives. I can tell y'all, if you've watched any of my videos, you will see that a lot of the things that I talk about are how you can use your words to literally change your life, because our words affect our thoughts. Well, let's back up. Our thoughts, what we think about ourselves, what we think about what we can have, what we think about who we are, and all of this stuff, what we think about us, influence the words that we speak, right? And then the words that we speak and the thoughts that we think influences the actions that we take, okay? And so Miss Catherine Ponder, what she basically did was she went around the country. Hey, Dr. Poopin Sniffer, okay? I'm gonna try to say hi. I'm gonna try to say some things, y'all. I'm gonna try to follow y'all comments. But anyway, she went around the country and she taught people how to shift their thinking and shift their words in order to shift their lives, okay? And this was during World War II, at a time where I believe it said that they were living in a time of a recession, right? And so people are saying we are in a time of recession, whether we are or whether we're not, right? Anything that we can do to increase our lives, anything that we can do in this day and age to increase the money that we have bringing in, right? And a lot of the things that I teach the women in business that I coach is that we have these gifts that are within us that were gifted to us, so we can naturally use those gifts in order to shift and change and transform our lives. Our gifts that are in us are meant to be given away, right? And when we give those gifts away, there is always an exchange, right? We give something and we receive something. And that receiving, a lot of times when we're creating wealth in our business, we are receiving a monetary value for the gifts that we have, right? us people that are creatives and we can physically make products, right? We sell those products and then those products make us a profit, right? The people like myself that have the creative energy as far as teaching and the information, the knowledge that I have within me, right? That is my gift. I have the gift of teaching, I have the gift of speaking, and then I use those things to help my students increase their wealth, increase their internal value, and then they pay me for that, right? So everything is an exchange. And what I help the women that I coach to do is to use those gifts that they already have to get into that business that they've already created and really begin to believe in themselves more, to get into a deeper space within themselves so that that can then in turn manifest itself on the outside, because we have to start with our internal value. We have to start by increasing our internal value in order to then increase our external value. It all starts within us, okay? And so the lesson for today, the very first chapter of the Dynamic Laws of Prosperity, is the introduction. And I want to share with you this story in the introduction, okay? And the story says, so we're on the basic laws of the basic prosperity laws that can bring riches to you, okay? And again, it is all about using your words, using your language in order to transform your life, okay? And so it says, failure is basically, she says, I came to realize that failure is basically the result of failure thinking, right? So when we think thoughts of failure, when we believe that we can't do something, when we believe that something isn't working out for us, because that's another thing that I talk about is our belief. What do we believe, right? Because our beliefs influence our thoughts. Our beliefs influence our words. Our beliefs influence our actions and how we show up. Whether we believe we can or whether we believe we can't, we are correct, right? We are always going to make sure that we are true to ourselves. And if that means that we're going to fail because we believe we are going to fail, then that's what happens, right? When something happens and you're like, I just knew that was going to happen. Well, you in some way influenced and manifested that to happen, right? Because you thought about that. You may have dwelled on it. You may have, kept repeating things, right? Our words are prophecies that we speak and put out into the universe and say, this is what I want, right? And our words do not return back to us void. So when we begin to speak differently, we begin to see differently, okay? And so it says the birth of prosperous thinking. And if you're just joining, we are talking about the Dynamic Laws of Prosperity by Catherine Ponder. And it says, you are prosperous to the degree that you are experiencing peace, health. Y'all, I don't know what's going on here. It says you are prosperous to the degree that you are experiencing peace, health, and plenty in your world. While prosperous thinking means many things to people, basically it gives you the power to make your dreams come true. Whether those dreams are concerned with better health, increased financial success, a happier personal lifestyle, more education and travel, or a deeper spiritual life. Okay, hold on, y'all. I don't know how to hold on. We gone. I don't even know how to stop all of this. Y'all, it's stuff popping up and I'm like, okay, no, decline. We not doing that right now. Anyway, yeah, I'm sorry. This is my first live. If y'all didn't hear me say that, this is my first live. So I'm trying to figure out what's going on, okay? And trying to keep up. So it says, this book plainly shows how prosperous thinking has helped people in every walk of life to experience these results. Furthermore, it shows how prosperous thinking can do things for you too. As you read this book chapter by chapter, you will automatically begin to develop the power of prosperous thinking. And almost as easily, you can begin to reap the harvest of a prosperous result. Listen, when we begin to change our thoughts will influence our words will change, our actions will change, and everything around us will begin to shift, okay? And it all starts with our thoughts and our words. Okay, and so it goes on to say the salesman with the golden touch. It says years ago, a salesman used the power of prosperous thinking. Although he may not have consciously have been aware of it, people used to ask him, "How's business?" And his standard answer was, "Business is wonderful because there is gold dust in the air." For him, it certainly seemed so. Every contact became a sale. And after a while, whenever his name was mentioned, people always says, "Yes, everything he touches turns to gold." So this man was continuously saying, "Business is wonderful. There's gold dust in the air." And that meant for him, he always believed that, listen, there is literally gold dust falling all around me. Everybody wants to give me their money, right? When we're in business, we have to start saying affirmations and telling ourselves in our unconscious mind things like that, right? We can't go around saying stuff like, "Well, nobody's buying my products," or "Nobody's engaging with my content." No, when we are confident in what we are offering, and I don't know if I made a TikTok about that or not, but I know I told a story. I don't remember. I think it was in my last master class. I told this story about how I had damn, y'all, I lost my train of thought. My bad. I lost my train of thought because I was trying to remember where I said this. But I told the story about how the salesman, another salesman would always say, like, he would pull up to the gas station and he would say, he would tell the person that pumped the gas, like, "Yeah, he has some like old beat up car," and he would be like, "Yeah, this is my black Cadillac, right? This is my black Cadillac." And one day, within a month or two later, he was driving. He pulled up to the same gas station in a black Cadillac. And it's all about what we really believe and how we feel and how we can manifest certain things with our words, okay? And so when we begin to shift and change and transform our mind, our words, all of that influences our actions, and we begin to show up differently, right? So when we believe in ourselves on a different level, we show up differently, okay? And so let's go. This guy, back to the salesman, he would tell himself there is gold dust in the air. And so to him, it was like, I can sell a car to anybody because everybody that comes to me is going to have the money because there's gold dust in the air. And so this salesman, even though he may not have been doing it consciously, he was creating an atmosphere where he was using his words to bring himself prosperity, okay? And so it says, during my first year in ministry, one of the most severe business recessions since World War II hit this country, and members of my congregation began asking for lectures on ways to survive this difficult period. It was then that these dynamic laws of prosperity began to form. And so that's what I was saying at the beginning. She was going around during the era of a recession, teaching people how to literally use their words to change and transform their actual lives, to create more wealth just by using the words that they were speaking, okay? And so she goes on to explain how she came up with the dynamic laws of prosperity. And it says, law is a principle that works. Sir William Blackstone, well-known writer of the law, pointed out many years ago that a law is a settled rule of action. It says the word law usually suggests a desire for order. People experiencing limitation need just that. Order in their thinking, their emotion, their bodies, their financial affairs, and in all phases of their life, right? the Bible talks about order. There's a specific order to all things, right? And when our thoughts do not align with our desires, when our thoughts do not align with what our Creator says, right? Because if we were created to have an abundant life, if we were created to live a life of prosperity and happiness, and if this earth is our playground where we can create whatever life we were meant to have, then why are there so many of us living in poverty? Why is there so many of us living in lack? Why are there so many of us living without? Well, this book is telling us that it's because our thoughts are out of order. Our thoughts are out of alignment. What I tell my students is you can't want $1 million business, right, with a $100,000 mindset. You're only going to create to the limit that your mind has been stretched, right? We can only see to the degree that our mind has gotten there first. We have got to think it before we see it, right? We have got to create it in our internal atmosphere before we actually manifest it in our external physical space, okay? And so this goes on to say, the brilliant scientist Sir Isaac Newton, an early researcher of nature's laws, once said that there is one set of natural laws for the physical world, but let us go further. There are also higher mental and spiritual laws than those usually used on the physical plane of life. Jesus knew and used them constantly. These higher mental and spiritual laws are so powerful that they can be used to multiply, neutralize, or even reverse natural laws. Y'all, when we talk about what God can do, and when you think about the stories in the Bible that relate to what Jesus did, Jesus was walking around creating miracles, right? Just by speaking and taking action on those words, right? When Jesus helped the blind man to see, he said, pick your stuff up. He put some dirt on his eyes and he says, now go to the fountain and rinse off and you'll be able to see, right? There was not a lot of action. I told this story a little while ago, and it was like, sometimes we expect to have to do this grand thing, right? Jesus didn't tell the man to go find another blind man and spin around 10 times and do all this crazy stuff. All he said was, go wash your eyes. After he put the mud on them, he said, take up your stuff and go wash your eyes in the fountain. Sometimes it's the simplest things that we are told to do, because they're so simple. We don't believe that those things are going to have any impact on our lives. But the simplest thing is changing our words. Our words create our reality. And when we really begin to understand that, and when we really begin to speak with intention, when we really begin to say, you know what, how about let me try this? And that's what I tell my students. A lot of times we think about what can go wrong. But how about if we think about what can go right? What if we showed up and said, this is always going to work out for me? What if we had a mentality of thinking everything that I do is going to work out for me? How differently would we show up if that's the way we thought? How differently would things happen if that's how we spoke, right? So we have got to learn to begin to shift the things that we say. We have to begin to learn how to shift the things we think so that we can shift what we manifest. Because here's the other thing. When we talk about manifestation, right, a lot of people get it twisted. We are always manifesting. We are constantly manifesting. We cannot help but to manifest. Whatever we do, right? If you go outside and find $5 on the ground, somehow you manifested that $5, right? If you go outside, get in your car, and all of a sudden down the road you have a flat tire, at some level you manifested that. Whether the only thing you did that day was get up and say, I know today is going to be a horrible day, right? Somehow you bring that energy into your life and into your aura. Okay. And so whether we consciously do it or whether we subconsciously do it, we are always manifesting the things that show up in our life. So when we begin to shift from unconscious manifestation to now I am doing this with intention. I am setting an intention of what I want to happen. I'm setting an intention in my business. I'm setting an intention in my relationship. I'm setting an intention in my career. Whatever that thing that you are trying to manifest, right? When you begin to do it with intention, things intentionally change. Things begin to shift, right? And so the simplest thing we can do is start by changing our language. Hold on. Okay, I'll look at that in a minute. But if we just simply start by changing our language, we can change our life. And it's not going to happen overnight. And you have to begin, what I teach my students is understanding, oh yeah, something must be going on. Understanding that there are very specific things that we can do to shift and change and transform. And there is something called RAS, a random access, no, it's not random. That's something totally different, y'all. I'm about to say random access memory. That's a whole computer, y'all. But there's a thing in our brain called the RAS, and I don't know the letters, what the letters stand for specifically, but I call it the bullshit meter, right? And so if you sit around and you're saying affirmations like, I am a millionaire now, I am a millionaire now, right? The RAS says, no, you're not, right? The RAS looks at the reality of what's going on in your life, and it says, no, that's not truth, right? And it throws bullshit completely. And so when we are beginning to shift and change and transform, we have to understand that it's going to take our brain a little bit of time to catch up to what we are saying, right? It's going to take our brain some time to really begin to believe the things that we are telling it that may not necessarily be true. And so when you start saying and declaring different affirmations, if those things may not be true for you at the moment, what I teach my students to do is start by saying, I am willing to believe. Because you shifted from saying, this is true for me, to then saying, I am willing to believe that this can be true for me. Even though it may not be true now, I am willing to believe that this can be true for me. Okay, so when you're creating your affirmations, especially in this new season that we're walking into, y'all, we are in a whole new year. We are in 2024. We are doing some things differently, and we are believing God for bigger. If you are not in the 100 Days of Believing Bigger series, if you have not yet followed me and started going on that journey of believing God for bigger, we've been doing those devotionals. I think we're on day 72. I believe I went up to like day 53 or so in 2022, and I had stopped for a moment and came back in 2023. Maybe if I hit this button, let's do that. Okay. Okay. I think we good. I think I hit the right button. But so I had started doing those. So anyway, we're up to day 72. So you can find those devotionals, and I do devotional recaps as well, because we are believing God for bigger in 2024. Okay. And that's why I wanted to start this series with talking about the dynamic laws of prosperity, because the most simplest, easiest thing that we can do to shift and change and transform our lives are speaking differently about who we are, about what we can do, about what we desire. We have got to start being very intentional and very honest about what we desire. We cannot be so humble that we tell ourselves we don't want things that we know we want, because then what's going to happen? We are going to manifest the opposite of what we want, because we're telling ourselves, oh no, I don't need to make $100,000. I'm okay making 60. But why though? Right? We have got to say to ourselves, but why though? Why does that make sense? And that's why I decided to kind of change what I expressed about how I help my clients on my page, because when I really started to think about what direction I wanted to go in 2024. And when I started to think about what I wanted to do and the programs I wanted to launch and all of that, and thought about, how do I really help my clients? What I really try to do is help you clear the clutter from your mind, because the clutter is what keeps us stuck. And for me, sometimes I use bad language, y'all. And so the thing that came up for me was, I help you unfuck your mind, okay? Because our mind is so messed up with all the clutter from the mistakes, with all the clutter from the rejection, from the things that didn't happen the way we thought it would happen, from the way our caregivers treated us or mistreated us or misguided us, from things that happened to us in our past. And we carry those along the way. We carry those in our physical bodies. We carry those in our mind. We carry those in our subconscious. We carry those in the way we operate every single day. And so what has to happen is we have to start changing the thoughts that we focus on in order to change the outcome that we see. Because if we're so filled with this stuff about how we failed in 2020 and what relationship didn't go right when we were 18 and, what our mom did or what our dad didn't do or all of these things, when we keep all of that clutter in our mind, we feel a sense of unworthiness. We feel a sense of devalue. It's like, well, how can I have all of these gifts within me when my mother didn't want me or my father didn't like me or, my second grade teacher said I wasn't going to be shit. Like, we have got to get out of that headspace of focusing on the shit that didn't go the way we thought it should have gone. And so that's why I wanted to kind of deliver the message in that way, because that's my goal. I want to help the women that I serve to really unfuck their mind. Like, our mind is a fucked up place sometimes because it's so cluttered. And so I help my clients to really begin to release those things that have impacted them for so long, that have allowed them to stay stuck on a level that they should be way beyond by now. Because a lot of us stay in this sense of, oh, I'm comfortable here, right? I'm comfortable here. This feels good here. Yeah, making $60,000 isn't really that bad, right? I'm comfortable. I can get up. I can go to work. I can clock in at 7 o'clock. I can do these things, right? But what about when you really want to go on that vacation, right? But you're like, oh my gosh, I have to work so much overtime, or I have to work so much this, or I don't know how I'm going to make this happen, right? What if you didn't have to worry about that? Because you decided, you know what, it's time for me to level up. It's time for me to really walk in my gifts. It's time for me to really take my business serious. It's time for me to really believe in what I want to accomplish. And once you get to that level of, okay, I'm going to decide that this is what I want in my life, then you make your thoughts and actions follow that, right? And we go back to that. You get your thoughts, you get your mind back in order and in alignment with the things that you want to manifest in your life. Manifesting with intention, okay? Creating your life with intention. Beginning to walk in those things that you desire to have. Beginning to believe in that life that you desire to have. Beginning to really focus on where you want your life to go, and then figuring out how to get yourself from where you are, from where you desire, where you desire to be, okay? And the very simplest thing that you can do is start to change the words that you speak, okay? And so as we're walking through the book, we talked about Sir Isaac Newton and the spiritual laws that he said were way more than those of the physical laws, and could even, could even neutralize or reverse natural law. Because the spiritual, listen, when we start operating from the spiritual has such a great impact on the physical, okay? And so the book goes on to tell about how the power of prosperity works for different people in Miss Ponder's classroom, okay? or across the classes that she spoke to. And so it says prosperity brings a new look. And it goes to talk about a look of inner peace, poise, happiness, security, and stability, not previously apparent. The failure look of depression and discouragement was replaced with looks of success, self-confidence, and inner happiness. The look of defeat was replaced with a look of dominion, authority, victory. It was wonderful to behold. Listen, when we can shift ourselves from being in a state of depression, from being in a state of lack, from being in a state of not having the very necessities that we need, because again, she was talking to people that were in a recession. She was talking to people that were watching news streams that were talking about people being homeless and people going hungry and children probably, having to look for scraps. And it was just a difficult time for everybody in the world during that time. And then you have this lady that is coming around teaching that all you have to do is speak differently and your life can be completely changed. And the stories of the transformations that occurred from her students were just amazing. And so this book was created around some of the teachings as well as some of the stories so that it can help us, the readers, understand that these are powerful laws. It's called the dynamic laws of prosperity. And when we put these laws in action, they can have a powerful impact on our lives, on our businesses, on our families, on every aspect of our lives, okay? It says your whole outlook changes. A lonely, unhappy businesswoman who had often threatened suicide became so intensely interested in the laws of prosperity that she found interest outside of herself. This led to a happier, more balanced life. The talk stopped. A housewife and also a businessman whose secret drinking had become a serious problem, found new hope in the practice of prosperous thinking. They began to realize that their drinking problems could be overcome as they gained this victorious expectation. They were able to begin resolving and dissolving inner hostilities and conflicts. Their drinking gradually diminished. And that's what I want to get y'all to understand, is that our internal, how we feel about ourselves, who we are, what we deserve, what we can have on the inside, has such a huge impact on the manifestations of our life that are seen on the outside. Because when we believe that we don't deserve certain things, when we believe that we can't have certain things, when we believe that certain things are not attainable for us, our actions, it's like we don't even reach for those things. We don't even go after those things. Our goals aren't even that great, right? Because we started out thinking we could not have a certain things. We started out thinking that we could only go to a certain level. We started out thinking that certain things were out of our reach. And when we begin to change our internal, when we begin to change the value that we place on ourselves, the value that we believe who we are and why we were created, if there is even a purpose within us, right? Some of us don't even believe we have purpose on this earth, but we have got to begin to shift those thoughts and shift the thoughts that we focus on so that we can use the power of our mind and our words and then our actions to manifest the life that we desire to see. Okay, so we're going to go through just a few, like one more page, and then I'm going to hop off of here, okay? It says, several marriages were saved after one or other of the marriage partners began to invoke these laws of prosperity. One person's divorced partner returned and they were remarried. Several lonely, unmarried people, happily married people, one after having been widowed for 20 years. Okay? A businessman who had always detested his work found as he began using this idea that he got a whole new perspective on his job. And in due time, he no longer disliked it. Listen, when we get up every Monday and say, oh my God, I hate Mondays, a lot of times we have a very bad day. When we get up and say, oh my God, I got up on the wrong side of the bed, normally things don't go great that day, right? So we have got to start changing what we say about our day, just that simple, right? To create a better day. When we get up and say, today is a beautiful day to have a beautiful day. I am willing to have a beautiful day. I am so excited to see what God is going to do in my life today. I am so excited for what the universe is going to bless me with today. I am so excited for the experience I'm going to have today. I am so excited about the good things that are going to happen to me today. When we get up with that sense of excitement, with that sense of just shifting something, like I'm going to get up with a better attitude, better things will happen. And even if something bad happens, even if something unexpected or unwanted happens, we can still look at it and say, you know what? Look at it, the glass half full. It could have been worse. Something worse could have happened. I'm glad it didn't happen this way. Always try to look for the glass half full, right? Always try to see things in the better way. So when we begin our day with a sense of excitement, with a sense of positivity, with saying, hey, today is going to be an amazing day. I don't know what's going to happen, but today is a new day. Today is a new day for me to experience something new, for me to learn something new, for me to do something different, right? When we get up with that kind of mentality, things begin to change. We said the businessman who hated his job, he began using the ideas that's taught in the prosperity principles, and he had a different outlook on his job. And in due time, he no longer disliked it. We can encourage ourselves in different ways. I'm sure that salesman got up every day and said, I'm just so not looking forward to going to this dealership. I can't stand these people. They get on my nerves. They this, they that. Have you ever just got up like that and was like, oh my gosh, I can't, I just don't even feel like going in here. I know somebody gonna say something and it's just gonna rub me the wrong way. I know she gonna look at me wrong. I know like when you just get up with a bad attitude and just a sense that something negative is gonna happen, a lot of times it normally does. So we've got to start shifting that to immediately getting up and saying, you know what, today is going to be a great day. The very first thing I do when I wake up is say, thank you, God. I thank you for allowing me to open my eyes. I thank you for allowing me to see another day. I thank you for allowing me to have breath in my body. I thank you for allowing me to get up and experience something new. I thank you for allowing me to shift my thoughts. I thank you for allowing me to touch someone else's lives. I thank you for the opportunity for me to do something different today. I thank you for the opportunity for me to make money in my business today. I thank you that my bank account is growing on today, right? We begin to say different affirmations and tell ourselves and shift our thoughts to what good can happen today. Okay? So when we start immediately with good thoughts, when we start immediately with good energy for the day, regardless, it's like nobody can steal our joy. Nobody can take away what we create ourselves, the energy that we create in our own experience. Okay? And so it goes on to say the salesman was right. It says the salesman was right. There is gold dust in the air for you, for me, for everyone. The scientists know that there's gold dust in the air because they declare the universe to be composed of nothing but radiant substance or ether to which man has unlimited access. Man has unlimited access. Like we have unlimited access to things. We'll talk about that another day, okay? It says they declare that man forms his world from the rich, unlimited substance within him and around him through his thoughts, emotions, words, and actions. So we form our own world. We determine what we want to manifest. We determine what we desire. We determine what we give our focus to. We determine what we give our energy to. We determine the thoughts, the action, the experiences that we give our energy to. And when we get up and we decide to give our energy, to give our thoughts, to give our actions to the good things that can possibly happen, when we decide to believe in what can go good instead of what can go wrong, things in our life absolutely begin to change. Okay? It says, and so let us proceed in confidence, knowing that there is gold dust in the air. Could you believe that? Like, listen, when I was in one of my coaching programs that I was in, there was one of the modules was talking about being abundant. And she said that the coach was like, she gave this comparison. She says, when you can think that abundance is all around you, right? It doesn't really, it sounds good, right? But you cannot actually physically think about how that makes sense. And the way she put it into focus of having a visual representation, right? She said, think about it. There's probably a bank very close to you. There's probably an ATM somewhere. There's probably a store somewhere. There is somewhere where money is kept, where a lot of money is kept, right? So there is literally abundance all around you. There might be an abundance of trees, right? There's a wooded area around the corner close to me, right? There could be abundance of trees. That's an abundance within nature, right? So when we understand and learn to visualize things differently by saying there's an abundance all around me, we're not lying to ourselves. We're not making things up, right? There is literally abundance all around us in different ways and in different aspects of the word. So when you can put it into physically seeing something or understanding what it actually represents, right? Putting a physical representation to what you're saying, you can get it, right? Your brain can grasp the concept more, okay? So it says, they declare that man forms his world from the rich, unlimited substance within him. And that's just like what the Bible says, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks, right? So how we feel about ourselves, what we carry in our heart space is what impacts the words that we speak. How we feel about ourselves, how we think about ourselves, how we identify with who we are, right? If we don't think we are big enough or worthy enough to do certain things, we won't believe in it. We won't give it our energy. We won't give it our focus. We won't speak and breathe it into existence, right? But when we have a heart of abundance, when we understand who we are, when we feel our heart space up with the truth of who we are, with good things about us, instead of focusing on the negative, instead of focusing on where we failed, instead of focusing on the things that didn't go right? When we fill our heart space up with that good energy and those good things about who we are, the things that comes out of our mouth, the things that comes out of our spirit is different, okay? And so it does start in our internal world. It says, and so let us proceed in confidence, knowing that there is gold dust in the air and there is gold dust everywhere. As you begin reading this book, no matter what the conditions of your life may be now, do so in this attitude of mine. There is gold dust in the air for me. Listen to this, y'all. There is gold dust in the air for me. Through definite, deliberate, prosperous thinking, I now begin assimilating that gold dust. And even now I am beginning to experience gold dust results. Now proceed quickly to the following pages. Okay. Anyway, there is gold dust in the air for you. There is unlimited resources. There is an unlimited abundance. There is whatever you desire to manifest in your life. It is there for you. The problem becomes when you don't believe it. The problem becomes when your mind is so clouded with your fears, with your failures, with your thoughts of doom and gloom, with your thoughts of what if this goes wrong, with your thoughts that do not align with your desires, with your thoughts that do not align with those things that you want to create in your life. When I was watching earlier I was watching a message by Sarah Jakes Roberts, and she talked about becoming a new person. Sometimes when we want to do things, we have to literally become a new person. It's like the version of us that got us to where we are may not be able to get us to where we're trying to go. So what version of you, what do you have to become? And by becoming, it's what do you have to release? What thought patterns do you have to release? What mindset do you have to release? What habits do you have to release? What do you have to release? What do you have to set down so that you can pick up something new, so that you can become the version of you that has everything that you desire to have in life? Who do you need to become? Who do you need to show up as, right? This is my very first live stream, y'all. And if you joined me at all today, I want to welcome you and I thank you for coming in. And I may have stumbled through some things and I may not have kept on whatever I was trying to talk about. I may have gone off on a tangent, right? But what did I tell y'all? God said everything does not have to be perfect. You just have to show up. So when you decide that, hey, it doesn't have to be perfect. I don't have to get on here and know everything. I have to have an agenda. I don't have to have a script, right? I can't read a script while I'm on live. But if I know what I'm talking about, if I know where I want to go, if I know what I want to teach, if I know what God is calling me to do, if all I do is show up and say, God, you know what? I don't know that I got it all together, but I'm going to show up and I'm going to do my part. God is going to do his. Things are going to start shifting. Things are going to start changing. When you begin to show up with a level of intention and say, you know what, this is who I am becoming. In order for me to grow in my coaching business, in order for me to grow in my clients, in order for me to grow in my influence, I had to get to a space where I had to say, you know what, I have to start showing up. You know, I'm creating TikToks and I'm creating Reels and I got stuff on YouTube, but my audience wants to see me live. My audience wants me to give live teachings. My audience wants me to do things a certain way because that's how the platform is built. So why would I not expand my territory? Why would I not show up on a different level at a different time? Because as I am becoming someone new, as I am going to another level. How can I say I want to take my business to the next level? Meanwhile, I am continuing to do everything that I did on the level that I was previously. We cannot do that. And in 2024, as we are shifting, as we are changing, as we are elevating, we have got to get to a place where we are okay being uncomfortable. We are okay doing something different. We are okay deciding that, you know what, I don't have to be perfect. I just have to show up. And so today, if you didn't get anything else out of this live stream today, I want you to get out the fact that tell yourself, there is gold dust in the air for me. There is gold dust in the air for me. There is unlimited gold dust in the air for me. Whatever that you want, you can have. Whatever that you desire to experience, you can experience. It's up to you to decide that you want that you desire that, and that you are deserving of it enough so that you get up and you align your mind, your thoughts, your actions, your words with what you desire instead of what your fear tells you. And so when you can tell yourself things like, there is gold dust in the air for me, that just means there are unlimited possibilities for what I can have today. So I encourage you to get up every day. If that particular saying does not work for you, what does work for you, right? What can you get up and tell yourself every single day at the start of your day that is going to motivate you, inspire you, and encourage you to take action on something that you desire? What is going to help you shift and change and transform your mind, your thoughts, your actions, and your words to get into alignment with what you desire to have, right? Decide who you want to become and then align everything else to match who you have to become to get to where you want to go, right? It starts with your decision. When you decide who you want to be, you have to make sure that everything else, your thoughts, your beliefs, your habits, your words, your actions, everything gets into alignment to agree with what you desire to have and where you desire to be in life. All right, y'all. So I thank y'all so much for joining me today. I'll be on again tomorrow. Tomorrow we are going to be back in the dynamic laws of prosperity. We're going to go in. Today we were in the, not the preface. We were in the introduction. And tomorrow we will be talking about the shocking truth about prosperity. That is our very first chapter. It's called The Shocking Truth of Prosperity. And so I will see y'all tomorrow, probably around the same time, probably about 2 o'clock. Okay, y'all? My name is Coach Jamila. I thank y'all so much, and I will see y'all later. Bye. Now, y'all, I got to figure out how to turn this thing off. Hold on. Let's see. Is that how you do it? Nope. Maybe. Nope. I don't think so. Okay. How we in the live, y'all? Okay, there we go.